Louisiana brought back the 10 Commandments in school? This is crazy. Okay, so we've obviously drifted further and further away from being any sort of Christian nation. Now, we could debate on if America was a Christian nation in the founding, or did it just use Christian principle, freedom of religion, freedom of speech. These are Western and post-Enlightenment values, right? But now it seems like there's a shift happening in the culture where more and more people, not just like the Russell Brands and the Jordan Petersons, but more and more people seem to be shifting on a institutional political level. Okay, in Louisiana, granted, it's deep south. This is interesting. So let's take a look at this. We're going to do a little bit more digging here. Go ahead.
And Louisiana is now the first state to require the 10 Commandments be displayed in classrooms. The bill was signed into law today. Critics question the law's constitutionality. Those who support it argue it has historical significance and that it's not solely religious. The law requires the displays to be installed in classrooms in Louisiana by the start of next year.
See if you can find anything else about it. Okay, so boom, the display of the 10 Commandments in classrooms. So my question is this. Someone is a secular materialist, atheist, doesn't believe God is real. Let's just placate that. Okay. So what would be the issue with the 10 Commandments? Like, what would their issue be with the 10 Commandments? Outside of commandment number 1, which is don't have idols, right? The Lord God is one, right? And then you get into the Sabbath. Okay. But if you look at the commandments as just like basic ways to govern your life, don't covet your neighbor's wife, don't commit adultery, don't lie, don't steal. The second half. I don't understand why anybody, even if they're an atheist, would have an issue if those are being, okay, I don't think this is instituting that everyone has to follow Jesus and go to church on Saturday or Sunday, depending on, which way you want to look at that. I don't understand what is the issue for someone is it because it's in the Bible and you don't like the Bible and you don't like God, therefore you have an issue with the 10 Commandments? Like, do you really have an issue with the 10 Commandments? Let's look at what this is saying. Baton Rouge, Louisiana became the first state to require the 10 Commandments be displayed in every public school classroom under a bill. GOP drafted legislation mandates that a poster-sized display of the 10 Commandments in a large, easy, readable font be in all public classrooms, from kindergarten to state-funded universities. Okay. Opponents question the law's constitutionality. What does that mean? What does that mean? If they like constitutionality, we're not saying people have to convert and go to church. That's not what this is. Warning that lawsuits would be likely to follow. Proponents say that the purpose of the measure is not solely religious, but that it has historical significance, which it does. Because we used to have the 10 Commandments in schools, I believe. In the law's language, the 10 Commandments are described as foundational documents of our state and national government. Keep going. A 10 Commandment billboard near Chattanooga, Ohio on November 7th has become the first state to require the 10 Commandments be displayed in every public school classroom. Civil liberties groups announced later Wednesday that they plan to challenge the law in court. In a joint statement, American United for Separation of Church and State, the American Civil of course, the Civil ACLU, and the Freedom from Religion Foundation said that the law violates the separation of church and state and is blatantly unconstitutional. So because it's separate, but it's not. It's the church and the Bible are not the same thing. Like, the church is the church, and the Bible is what should govern the church. But the church or churches is not the same thing.
Do you think we would think the same if it was the Quran and the Islamic temple or whatever?
Well, the Quran, I believe, adheres the Quran. Jews, Christians, they all adhere
it's almost
to this.
The most universal.
It's the most universal thing. I bet you if you were to ask a Buddhist or a Hindu, they would be like, "Oh yeah, like we're cool with the 10 Commandments." They don't have that book in their canons or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. So let's look up what the 10 Commandments are together. Refresher. After the incredible success of our Bless God prayer journal, many of you guys began to ask for something that had a planner. And so we combined our Bless God prayer journal with a brand new leadership planner that jam-packs the same things from our prayer journal with a planner, goal setting, leadership meeting, and notes. With the next pages, you can see different sections right along here of this leadership planner where you can start out with actionable goals, 12 months of calendar, our original prayer journal prompts, our leadership journal with the proven problem solution framework, and of course, just free write notes. This leadership planner is based off of Matthew 25:14-30, which of course is the parable of the talents. The vision of the planner is to help you make the most of your time, talent, and treasure. Head over to blessgod.shop and get yours today. All right, I'll see you over there. Peace. All right, because I think, yeah, and not to mention, thank you, Jonathan. That's a great point. Jonathan said the Quran didn't influence the government, though. That's also true. Like the Quran did not go on to influence the U.S. government.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Right?
Yep.
And so if they have their version of the Ten Commandments in their Quran and they're in a country that was at least indirectly influenced by his teachings, I don't think that would be an issue.
Random church has the SEO on the Ten Commandments.
Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make onto their any graven image. I don't know how many people out here are actually making graven images of God out here, right? So like, have no other gods before me. I could see if you don't believe in God why you may have an issue with that, right? Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord in vain. I don't know why it would be okay to do this in polite society anyway, right? Like to use God's name in vain, right? Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Listen, secular psychology would tell you need at least one day off a week. You need a day off a week.
Yep.
Honor thy mother and father. Why is that an issue? Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal.
Sounds like we're all on the same page so far.
Thou shalt not bear false witness against the neighbor. Right? Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. I just genuinely am concerned on why anyone would look at this. Outside of the first one, if you don't believe in God, I get it. But from a purely like, hey, probably, committing adultery, pretty bad. Coveting, comparison is the thief of
joy.
The thief of joy. Like these are all things that we would all agree on as general principles to live life by.
Yeah.
Regardless on if you believe in God or not. So I just find it crazy that they have an issue with this, but like every June, you guys want to fly rainbow flags everywhere.
That's where they lose.
Yeah.
That's where they lose because you can't act like, hey, we don't want symbolism of any sort of religious belief. And then you have like the religion of the left.
Yeah.
Being flown and paraded.
Well, of course they're going to say it's not a religion, but come on. You guys got heresies. You guys got hierarchies. You guys got dogmas. You got all the same things. You got even the concept of dead naming, right? So you've been transformed, like transformation. This is like anyone that doesn't see the parallels, I think is just being so disingenuous in that. And by that that's not just the rainbow folks. I mean, you can make CrossFit a religion. Mm-hmm. You can make yoga a religion. You can make so many other things, sports a religion, right? All these things can have the same attributes, the same ritualistic functions, the same heresies, the same veganism is a religion. Climate justice is a religion, right? And so I think this idea that you can't have this in school is just goofy to me. And I would hope that more schools follow suit because I think in our desire to separate church and state, we have overcorrected to the point that there can be no church and state. And that I don't think that's what the founding fathers intended.
Yep.
I think they intended, we don't want the church dictating the government.
Yeah.
We don't want the church doing that and dictating what people have to believe. But that's not, even the most radical theophany adhering post-millennial isn't trying to force mass conversions on people.
Yeah.
Right? Like the goal, even when I talk to a Joe Webbin or someone like that, Doug, like they're not on some Handmaid's Tale vibes. They're kind of close sometimes, but they're not all the way over there,
If we're gonna be honest, it's not great.
I'm just joking. Shout out to Joe Webbin. Okay, after the incredible success of our Bless God prayer journal, many of you guys began to ask for something that had a planner. And so we combined our Bless God prayer journal with a brand new leadership planner that jam-packs the same things from our prayer journal with a planner, goal setting, leadership meeting, and notes. With the next pages, you can see different sections right along here of this leadership planner where you can start out with actionable goals, 12 months of calendar, our original prayer journal prompts, our leadership journal with the proven problem solution framework, and of course, just free write notes. This leadership planner is based off of Matthew 25:14-30, which of course is the parable of the talents. The vision of the planner is to help you make the most of your time, talent, and treasure. Head over to blessgod.shop and get yours today. All right, I'll see you over there. Peace.